Hello everybody, T-Hub Official 1 back again with my Malcom in the Middle review series for Series 1, Season 1 as it is called, I think by most people. I don't know why I call it series there. So this is the episode 9 from Series 1 and it is Lois versus Evil. And when I saw the title of this episode, I got pretty excited. I must say. So Lois versus Evil. Let's get into the episode and just talk about what we see in the episode. So while the kids are at home are acting normally, we see Lois asking when Hal will be done working outside. We get to our intro and Malcom is confused about Julie Hulin, a girl in her class who we saw, if you don't remember, in the first episode in the pilot, and he also is really confused because she's distancing herself sort of him, and he's confused to act. It's like his first crush that we get to see. And he's also not really sort of enjoying school. He's either confused about her, bored, or just scared, I don't know. Francis is brought to a pageant and is excited to help out. Stanley helps him out to get out of the military. We get a decent excuse to get out of the military, and now here he is enjoying himself being away from home for once. We meet Craig in his work with Lois, and as an eccentric character with Lois as the kids come to the supermarket Lucky Aid, and we mess with Havoc at the steam cleaner. We meet Mr. Pinter, who is sort of this snooty man, looks down on Lois, and just feels that he is a lot more superior to her, which is sort of true, but Lois could have got his job, but she didn't take it. And, well, he's not a very good manager, I don't think. At home, kids get punished, and Dewey still steals 150 cognac after wanting to be like his brothers. We get to see Dewey for once in this episode, for properly, this is the first time we're going to see him. Actually, at the end of Series 1 and the start of Season 2, he's going to have a bit of his own weird thing, but I'm going to get to that soon. You know, we have to wait until we get to Season 1 before we can get to that sort of stuff. Anyway, so Dewey, let's focus on this episode. Dewey steals this cognac, and well, Hal's pretty excited for one thing, but Mr. Pinter fires Lois for what he did and doesn't take it back while she goes on rage and feels he is totally unfair to her. Francis is thanked about helping out properly with the others. That's in the pageant, and the family have to economize at home as Lewis needs to get a new job and they're struggling at home. Malcom complains at school with Stevie, and Malcom finds Julie at lunch, and Malcom becomes nervous about the situation and rages and leaves Julie. Hal thinks he can talk Francis into going home with a little money. So which brings me sort of nicely onto the segue onto a bit I want to talk about. So Hal in this episode. Hal, really not for me, working out good in this episode. If you want to know my total opinion on this, I'll get to that at the end. I just want to sort of get through this. Let's talk about it first. Francis and the side story, that is not good at all. I don't really like it at all. And nothing about, like, just no depth in the story at all. It's sort of him like a holiday from the main story. Him getting away and not really having an ending, because the way it ends is him being gay, which is just weird. And he's acting kind of like a total douche in this episode. Well, not really a douche, just like he wants to find his love. Really weird, I thought, from storyline, but I guess you can sort of relate to Francis doing that. So Hal in this episode, as I was meant to explain, what he does is defend Dewey, but also be happy for what's going on and sort of go along with everything that's going on. I mean, Lois is driving the story forward. Lois, superb, by the way. Hal he's dragged along in the background, and he's just the underlying comedy relief whenever it's needed. But we get Craig in here, and he's sort of filling in that role in this episode. He gets to have a bit more of a show light than Hal does, but the next episode we're going to get to Hal having his own sort of bit. So the way this show really works is it's rotating around is focusing on Malcom, as it does in the early days, the first 2 seasons or something, or 2 or 3, and focuses around Hal and Lois, those 3 sort of characters. And Malcom and I think her name is Julie. He sort of talks to Stevie, but Stevie's kind of distancing himself from this whole sort of thing, so he can sort of, he's friends with Malcom, but he doesn't want to be involved with his love life or anything. He sort of makes fun of him for there. But Malcom just ends up raving at Julie at the end of the episode as they get poor, as we see this economized family have to economize even more, and get poor, really. And Caroline is that underlying help in school. She sets up this whole group that are going to help him out and give him food, and that's when we get to the bit where Hal has to go to the hospital after eating what he thinks was an olive, but was actually a peach, which he's allergic to. So he goes to the hospital, and that is when we get to the solution of the story, the resolution. Lois talks to the doctor and says, well, how much is it going to cost? And she's like, oh my god, this is going to cost so much. So she's going to have to get a job back, and he's going to have to apologise to Mr. Pinter, and Mr. Pinter ends up quitting after everyone hears her rage about him. She gets her job back, she can pay for Hal's surgery or whatever, and we get the story resolve. Mr. Pinter is out of her life, and I think everything's sort of back to normal. Anyway, for how well the resolutions in this story get, she's back to normal. So let's finalise by talking about Lois. Lois, you are amazing. She has done one bad episode, and the way she works, she can go from sad to angry throughout this episode, to hopeless, and to happy again at the end. That's been just wonderful to see from a character like this. But in all, this episode for me didn't rank too highly. Wouldn't watch it again, and maybe not even one to watch the first time through. I mean, for moments that are funny, there's not too many to see. So, I don't know. Also, the side story, as I already mentioned earlier on, is not good with Francis, and Malcom not doing anything with Julie, and we just finding that cop-out way to end the story, the sort of little storyline through the mini episode. We will be seeing her again, I think, Julie Hoolan, but not right now, because we sort of see the writers just end it out, and he rages at her, and it's an easy way to get out of that relationship. Maybe something Malcom might do, but for me, it didn't work too well. And again, Lois saved this episode. So if you really have to see all the episodes and you want to go through them all, and if you're a big fan of Lois, watch this episode for good. But for everything else, not too great. One scene is actually really good in the hospital bed, where she figures out what's going on, and all the kids have to deal with Hal in hospital. So there, guys, that's been it. Thank you guys for watching my review of Lois vs. Evil. Make sure to share, favorite, comment, subscribe, and like. Hit that subscribe button most of all. So thanks guys for watching this. It's been Toby Official 1, and enjoy. Also, I will be making an important notice video later on today or tomorrow, on next weekend, by the weekend, just noting how the Christmas holiday videos will be organised. So thank you guys, Toby Official 1. Enjoy.